Hi, I'm real estate broker Landon Witt. I've been working in Oklahoma City for about 8 years now, selling real estate, hundreds of sales. And I wanted to make this video for you right now on where to buy a home in Oklahoma City in 2023. I'm going to jump into the maps, I'm going to jump into a little bit of Zillow action, and I'm going to break down for you what my opinion has been touring thousands of homes, going through hundreds of neighborhoods, and hearing the buyer feedbacks, and really peeling back what these neighborhoods have to offer. This is not a comprehensive, covering all neighborhood video. I wanted to keep this short and sweet as a general overview. If you have a specific question about a neighborhood or a home, feel free to email me or call anytime. My contact information is below the video. All right, let's jump into it.
Oh, you just keep on using me. Yeah, until you use me up. Oh, God, you can use me up. Oh,
in front of us is the infamous Zillow. The reason why I'm choosing Zillow is because Zillow is the #1 search platform for real estate in the United States. Zillow also owns Trulia.com, HotPads, so if you use any of those, it's all the same software developers. I wanted to start with the zoom out. If you're not from here, maybe you got a job transfer, maybe you're in the military, this is probably where you start. You're looking here and maybe even scrolling on this right side to just kind of get an idea of what type of home you like and that kind of thing. I think the first thing you'll notice is the majority of homes for sale in Oklahoma City range between the 200 and 500 price point. That's the lion's share right now, with a lot of them falling in that 250, you see some 285, that type of home. I want you to look to the left real quick so you can kind of understand the geography layout first, and then we're going to talk about the social layout second. Then we're going to talk a little bit about traffic, and then we might get into some schools. But that's going to be a real short explanation because school is very particular. I have kids myself, so if you want to have a talk offline, we can do that. This is where Oklahoma City was founded, is here, right downtown. So everything down here starts in the 1930s build. Let's see if I can find an example. So if you don't like the vintage 1930s, 1940s rehab, you know, this is a little bungalow looking house. If you don't like that, you cannot really live downtown. There are maybe some exceptions, but that's going to be the lion's share down here is homes that are, like for example, this one, which these used to be, 120,000, but, now they're in the 225, but they got the original wood floors, the 1930s, really, really good quality wood, by the way. They just don't make wood like that. A lot of this wood came actually from Kansas. So any of you from Kansas, they put it on railroad cars, brought it down here. But there's a lot of weird stuff that they do in these older homes to try to come up with kitchens and whatnot because the original houses had very minimal amenities. A lot of them one bath, some of them no bathrooms when they were first built. They had outhouses in the back. So that's going to be going on downtown. There's a whole separate thing. Of course, we could do a downtown. You've got, just to kind of briefly overview it, there's really not a whole lot of affordable housing downtown that's not really bad condition, okay? But north of downtown, like all this, you might have heard of the Paseo. We got like the art district and all that. You can find all kinds of housing in the 200 to 300 price point in this range. These are gonna need the right eye to look at the closets will be small. One car garage will be pretty common, like you see on the right hand side here. That's common. These mid-centuries, this is that resurgence once we get past like 50th. Remember, we start downtown, and then as we work outward, the streets go up in numbers. So we're a grid system here. So northwest is here. So northwest, as we go from downtown out, the streets go up in numbers. And once you get to about Northwest 50th, we've now entered World War II, and we get these concrete slabbed homes with brick all around. That happened right after World War II. So if you need a brick home that has a concrete slab, you're really going to be Northwest 50th and north of that. That's going to be all this area right here, okay, which is really popular. And I think if we look at the appreciation charts, this has done the most annual appreciation of Oklahoma City. We then have the northeast side, which you don't see a whole lot for sale right now. It's amazing how little is for sale on this side. There's lots of reasons behind it, but let's just talk for a minute about the transition. So this is all the medical district over here. So if you're transferring here from a hospital, or you're interested in being a patient at a hospital, you know, and I know that's crazy to say that, but like seniors, they'll move to a city because there's a great hospital. You know, it's a real thing. So if you're doing that, and you think, oh my gosh, I can just move right next to the hospital. Well, you need to understand that this area has gone through a lot of changes over time, right? The northeast side was originally what the federal government deemed as called a redlining district, which meant that if you were African American, this is the only area you were approved to get a mortgage in Oklahoma City. And I've done videos on that in the past. It's just a crazy story, but that really kind of held that area back for so long when it comes to loans, right? They're just very limited loans. And so you kind of have cheaper housing that got built, more smaller lots and things like that. So just be aware of that. Same thing as we go out to Midwest City. So that flowed kind of out east. And this is like also services Tinker Air Force Base. So you kind of have a lot of rental investors here and really stagnation of appreciation. So you might be able to pick up a decent sized house like 230, that's 2,100 square foot. Just know that for the last 15 years, appreciation generally has stagnated in this area. So don't expect to gain too much in this area, but if you visit there, you like what Midwest City has to offer, the closer you get to downtown Midwest City, you're going to get a lot of the restaurants, the stuff that would be around a college town kind of thing, because they're kind of catering to Tinker Air Force Base, which is a massive Air Force base. So while we're over here, let's just keep wrangling on west. Very kind of similar. This whole area here kind of has that same situation going on, with Del City in particular being a separate city, having their own permits. Every time you buy a house, the city has to go through it to make sure it meets their standards, and that really is not an interest to investors, because every time a tenant moves out, the city comes through the house to let them know what's wrong with it, and that can kind of keep prices low, because investors, they just get frustrated. I'm tired of fixing stuff. So like $65,000 for this 2-bedroom, 1-bath, not really uncommon in Del City. Here's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath for $112. Just be aware that is what's going on there. Got a lot of like service workers and stuff that work there. As we move south of there, it starts to get a little larger square foot, little better pricing, but really you got to kind of get into the atmosphere of that type of that side of the town. As we cross I-35 and go into what we officially call Southwest Oklahoma City, Southwest Oklahoma City used to be the manufacturing district of Oklahoma City. It had a lot of warehouses, a lot of steel districts, a lot of the stockyards right up here. This is where Cattleman's very famous restaurant is for a steakhouse. And to this day, they still sell thousands of head of cattle every year through here. But what happened is a lot of that industry collapsed in the 1970s and 1980s, and a lot of these homes were left vacant and were backfilled by a lot of Mexican immigrants that came up here. And so that's kind of what the resurgence has happened. But within the last 5 years, Amazon has put a fulfillment center by the airport here. This is the World Airport, and it's created an ecosystem of supply chain vendors that now are facilitating more rental property being looked after by higher paid workers, which is driving the cost of this housing up. Do be advised, if you want to buy one of these in the 190 or the 120 or the 130, most of these houses probably won't pass code enforcement. So if you're the type of person that really needs to have everything perfect and the breaker box looking just absolutely fantastic, you probably are going to have trouble over here. As we move south of here, so this is when somebody says South Oklahoma City, I live in South Oklahoma City, that's all this right here. This is a resurgence of the school district has gotten better in this side of town. It's not the school district that's up here. It's a different school district. You have larger square foot homes, 3,700 square foot. You got 2,500 square foot, 4-bed, 5 beds even. And this is a perfect place for a family that is maybe a lieutenant that's being promoted to a captain in the Air Force. You got that good pay coming in, and you want to live in kind of a nicer area, but not too far from the base. That's a good one, right? Or if you are, doing anything around the airport, or if you're just working remotely, this is a good opportunity. I find that a lot of our Vietnamese customers, they like living over here. There's pockets where that's popular. There's also an Indian community that's down there, and that's really because some of the grocery stores have been able to stay, offer large quantities of kind of the different foods that they like. And so you kind of got a resurgence in some pockets. So that's something, if you're into that kind of thing, you should look in that area, Now, as we crank around, this area right here into what we call Mustang, right? So a lot of what happened over here was that a lot of trucking depots and whatnot wanted access to I-40. Oklahoma City is the crossroads of America in a lot of ways, which has I-44, I-35, I-40, right? These are massive interstates that cross the nation that all come together here, which also makes it really good for drug trafficking, but that's a whole different story. We'll talk about later. But this is all the trucking, and so you kind of had this rough area. There's a lot of kind of homeless hanging around here, and that's changing over time, but not really super duper fast. So you got to be careful when you're kind of doing in this area, especially around Meridian, all this. But if we go west of there, a lot of new development, a lot of expanses of new construction coming on. You can see it to the right. I hope you're looking on the right of the screen. You can kind of see the summary of the area on the right. I just love that feature. And the reason really why this has resurged is the land is cheap for developers, and you have the turnpike right here. So this is a toll, this turnpike, and if I zoom all the way out, that toll goes all the way around the perimeter of the city, on the southwest to northeast perimeter. And then it connects on the east side of town with the interstates. So you can get anywhere in about 20 minutes. Okay, as long as you're close to that turnpike. So that's really what's caused a lot of this to be able to expand. And so a lot of incentives, if you're into new construction, this is a good bet. And Mustang School District has one of the best school ratings in Oklahoma City, in central Oklahoma. It's very similar to the town of Yukon, which is north of here. This is more of like a suburb kind of thing. It has a little bit wider roads. If you're from Texas, the roads look a little bit familiar, which on that topic, if you're from Texas and you're thinking of moving here, there's no sidewalks here, guys. There's sidewalks in Texas because your property taxes are crazy high. That's why your streets look so nice. We don't have high property taxes here, and therefore we don't have the nice, big, huge roads. Okay, they were built with a little bit different mindset up here, and that's why. So keep that in mind. So Yukon, again, that same kind of transition, a lot of ranch-style homes. All of Yukon and everything, 90% of it was built after World War II. So you got all the concrete slab homes, very few crawl space homes. just your standard home. And then as we move, out, further west, you get kind of your homes with 5 acres. It starts to get real common. And then you get these developments. So you can buy a home and really expect it to appreciate at a 3 to 5% annual appreciation over here. Okay. Public access to Lake Overholser. No skiing on this lake, but it's a great opportunity to fish and that kind of thing. You can sail on it. You can motorboat around. There's some boat ramps on the east side. There's also some like a small little coffee shop at River Sport. Okay, so we've covered mainly the overview, I think. Now I want to do one more as we move up towards northwest Oklahoma City. Okay, that's where I'm at now. Lake Hefner is here. Okay, Great Lake, boating, sailing, no swimming though, because that is the reservoir for the city, and I think they treat it with some kind of chemicals or something. But I don't know. We swim for boat maintenance, quote unquote, and none of our family members have died yet. So I who knows? But to the left, here is the Village. That's a different city. Okay, it's a small city, but it's a different city with their own police department, and their homes are pretty cool. This is kind of a cool niche. You just want to make sure you stay west of Western. Okay, as we move here, we got a lot of investor battling and all kinds of rent. The rent to owning ratio is really out of kind of kilter, and so we got a lot of kind of battle for the gentrification of Oklahoma City going on here. But if you stay west of it, you'll really be in a situation where you'll have kind of a homogenous, everybody's got kind of a similar quality home, similar quality, upkeep of their home, and that's really key in keeping property values going the right direction. South of the Village is, you may have heard of it, Nichols Hills. Nichols Hills, G.A. Nichols, was a dentist that developed most of the Shepherd Historic District, Gatewood, Paseo, and all that. He, and if you like, again, vintage homes, we can do a whole separate on that. I spent the first 3 years of my career only working historic, so got a lot of input there, but we don't have time on this overview video. But Nichols Hills was a master planned community for the wealthy elite, the dentists, the doctors, the lawyers, back in the 1900s, the mid 1900s, and to this day now it boasts incredible living, California style. That's not even a good example. Let's look at this one. That's not even a good example either. Come on, man, where's my fancy stuff? That's not too bad. Let me show you one more here. There you go, a little bit more grand. They've got some really grand layout homes that are really nice. But if you're, Nichols Hills, again, a really reserved neighborhood with a certain, style about the living in Nichols Hills, and it's kind of a tight-knit community. But if you're just buying for the grandioso home, you need to kick out east. You need to go over here, right? All this over here, even on Britain Road over here, there is this stuff you can get. Let's see if I can pull one of these up. I mean, look at this. Like, you get these, huge lots and just total family house for the same or less, and it's just a hop and a skip on I-35, and you're anywhere. So anyways, enough on that. If you've got questions, specific questions, email, call, no problem, Landon, Landon at okcreal.com, or you can look at the description below for more contact information, or visit oklahomarealestateshow.com.
Home shopping can be a fun and exciting part of your life. It represents change, and change can be a great thing. If you've started thinking about buying a home, I would love to share with you the homes I have for sale. I'm a 5-star rated agent in Central Oklahoma because I take care of people. Click the link below in the description to schedule a free, no-hassle consultation with me, and let's start your home search the right way.